Morning, parents. How are you guys doing today? Happy Saturday to you. And thank you guys for joining us for another coaching seminar. We're doing this a little bit differently. We're trying out different things as far as the EPEC curriculum goes. And so this week, we're actually going to be out at the different campuses to see how practice goes, see how practice went last week, and to assist in any challenges that they might have run into. And so if you are one of the programs that we come to this week, lucky you. We'll be coming to different programs throughout the 6 to 8 weeks that we're doing the coaching seminars and also the football games, so that we are involved just as much as you guys are in this program, and we can see the progress of your children and of your students and of you parents. So we're looking forward to that. We have come up with a tutorial video. Most of you guys have asked for what the drills were that we ran at the camp. So we came up with a tutorial video for you, and that's actually going to occupy half of the coaching seminar today. We have a cheerleading seminar, or a cheerleading tutorial, and a football tutorial. The tutorial for football, it breaks down each of the drills. It breaks down the reason behind the drills and what they work on. It also takes you through stretching and all that kind of good stuff, so that the kids can get loose, so that they don't hurt themselves, and also so that you guys can get loose. Because remember, anything that we do, we are included, and as parents and as teachers, we have to be included. So in the classroom, for instance, your child's teacher eats lunch with them, and so things that they do in the classroom, they do with them, because we want a family-style environment. So that's the same thing that we want here. Is we want you to be involved with them and do exactly what they do, so they feel involved. And that kind of goes right into the session that we have for today, in creating a nurturing environment. The reason behind creating a nurturing environment is simply this: if these kids feel comfortable with you, they'll give you anything that you want. Okay, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But first, I want to explain why we're doing the drills that we're doing for the first couple weeks. It's create repetition. And reason behind it, a lot of these kids that are 3, 4, and 5 years old have never played organized sports before. They've never played the game of football before. They just know what they've seen in TV, and they know what you show them. And so if we are continuously giving them drills and giving them the same thing over and over and over again, they're starting to learn those skills. They're starting to learn those abilities. Same thing for the football and the cheerleaders. If we're giving them the same cheers, we're teaching them the same stances. As an athlete or as a cheerleader, what's going to happen is they're going to walk around the house doing those stances. They're going to walk around the house doing those cheers. They're going to walk around the house playing football in their mind. And so all this does is create repetition within that child. And so the seminar today is going to explain why that's so important. The reason that it's so important is because that environment that you set around them, the president that you set around them, really dictates what's going on in their brain, and it dictates how fast they progress throughout our session. And so remember, this is all based off of the learning domains and the developmental domains that we deal with at Head Start. And so everything is geared toward developing those domains. And we're going to talk about a few of those today. But what I want to get into now is what it actually means to have a nurturing environment. And so what does a nurturing environment look like? Creating a nurturing environment for our children means that we're meeting their physical needs, their survival needs, their clothing needs, their shelter needs, and they feel protected. If these children feel those 4 things, then I promise you they will do for you exactly what you ask of them, just like any normal human being. And a lot of times we get confused, and it's like we hold children to a different standard. And which is understandable because they haven't been around and they don't know as much as, adult will know, obviously. But we have to realize that their brain is still a developing tool, and that we have to nurture that tool. So if you provide them with all the things that they need, if they're taken care of, if they're fed, if they know what's going on and they feel comfortable and they feel protected, then they will release themselves to have a good time. But in order for them to release themselves and have a good time, you must release yourself to have a good time as well. Okay? So creating environments in which children can thrive means consciously creating warm, loving, sensory-rich environments where their physical, emotional, spiritual needs are recognized and honored and met by you guys as coaches. And that's really how you do it. If you connect with them on a level where they feel okay with you, if they're looking forward to going to see Coach Lewis or Coach Johnson or whoever it is, then that allows them to learn as much as possible. If they're not connected with you and they don't feel comfortable with you, then it's no way in the world that they're going to want to come. And if they don't want to come, you're going to spend half of your time just warming up to them and trying to get them to warm up to you so that you can go out and implement the drills and implement the cheers and all those other things that you have to do for that day. So what we're doing here is basically just kind of creating a precursor for you so that you don't have to keep reaching them and having to keep reconnecting with them each time that you have a coaching seminar. You can simply start where you left off from. And this is very difficult when dealing with, young children like this, because they might not feel as comfortable with you because they don't see you every day. And so that's why it's extremely imperative that we create that nurturing environment each time, so that once they see you for the third time, once they see you for the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time, now it becomes nature. Just like the same thing when they meet their teachers. When they meet their teachers, a lot of children suffer from separation anxiety. And for the first week, 2 weeks of class, the child can literally spend the whole class crying because of separation anxiety. But eventually, through immersion, the child will learn how to cope with what's going on and adapt to what's going on. It's survival with the fittest. So those natural instincts are going to take over with that child. We have to be one of those tools that the child uses to get what they need as far as a nurturing stance. Okay, so what does it mean to create a nurturing environment? Children, what we want you to understand is children have very little control over their environment. Okay, they literally depend on you to keep them safe. They depend on you to give them everything that they need. Okay, they must also depend on you to provide the best environment and the most nurturing environment physically and emotionally for them. Okay, when a child's environment is not meeting his needs or her needs, it causes stress. This is what causes the temper tantrum. This is what causes the outburst. We have to realize that every action or reaction to something is the child trying to tell you something. And so as a parent first, and then as a teacher second, and then as a coach thirdly, we have to know that going into whatever we're doing. So we can't emotionally get invested in what's going on. We literally have to look at the behavior and treat the behavior and not treat out of emotion. Because the child might be telling you something, but if you're not looking at it from the right lens, then you'll miss the whole grasp of what's going on. And you'll miss an opportunity to really make an impactful change in that child's life. Because you have to realize that child might not know how to communicate his stressor or her stressor. He might not be able to communicate, hey, I'm hungry. Hey, this hurts. Hey, I'm not having a great day right now. Hey, I don't really want to do this right now. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe in doing this. And so we are not here to try to create Super Bowl winning quarterbacks or anything like that. We are literally here to develop these children in the different domains that we talk about. But in order to do that, we have to be keen in seeing what's going on with that child. If not, then we miss opportunities to help that child gain from a developmental standpoint. Why is this important? This is important because our environment affects all of us. Okay, we all have different sensitivities, but the unique thing about children is they don't have a filter. Okay, they don't have past references to go off of like us adults do. So they don't know how necessarily to temper their emotions just yet. That's exactly why it's important that as leaders, as coaches, we temper our tempers and we temper our emotions so that we together are showing them the proper example of how to react to certain stimuli and certain demonstrations. Because we have to realize children absorb everything from sight to sound to smell to reaction to facial expressions to words to anything that goes on. They literally soak it in. They are the biggest sponges in the world. And so any little thing that we do that we will think, okay, they didn't notice that. They definitely noticed that, and they're going to reenact that in some way, a shape, form, or fashion. So with that being said, it's important that we literally perform on our best at all times, because when you're dealing with children, you never know what they're going to pick up and take with them further on down the road, and you never know what that affects. So our jobs as coaches is to show the best example at all times. Understand that a nurturing environment means that sometimes the child's going to say no. Sometimes the child's not going to want to do what we're asking them to do. We have to figure out a way to maneuver around that. Same thing with the child at home. Just strictly disciplining that child might not be the best option for what's going on. So, for example, if we have a child that doesn't necessarily, every time they come to you, they feel it's like they're holding back, or they're always coddling themselves, or they're looking at you like they don't trust you. We have to figure out ways to get into that child, and we have to figure out ways to connect with that child. So the number one way to connect with them, talk to them. But when you talk to them, get down at their level. Okay, so squat down, get face to face with that child. Okay, simple hand gestures, inviting them in, creating a warm sense of tone. They can feed a lot off of your tone. So with saying things nicely, hey, I'm glad to see you again. Glad you came back to practice. Are you excited about playing football? We're really excited to have you. And it might not work the first time, but continuing to what you're doing as a coach is exactly how you're going to run your coaching sessions, how you're going to run your practice sessions, and run the game sessions are extremely important for that child. And it all starts with these first couple of weeks. We have to create repetition, which goes back to my earlier point on why we're running the drills first, okay? Creating repetition so when that child knows he's coming to practice, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's looking forward to what he's going to do. And some of those drills, like the running back drills or the receiving drills, those are going to be their favorite drills because they get to be the most active. So when we're running those, we have to bring in excitement. The number one key in creating a nurturing environment is get excited. Get excited. Get excited. Okay? If we're excited, the kids will love it. If we're not excited, they will not love it. It's just, that is a formula to success when working with children. If you're excited about what's going on, if you're just as hyped to play football, or just as hyped to be in cheerleading, or just as hyped to be out there and be involved, they will bring the heat. They will have a blast with you, but only if you're having a blast, okay? And so now for the last couple minutes of this seminar, we're going to talk about the developmental domains that we're going to be looking for first. First is the social-emotional domain. So social-emotional development includes child's experiences, expressions, and the management of emotions, and the ability to establish positive and rewarding relationships with others. So what does that mean? The social-emotional domain means that they can, one, temper their emotions, adjust their emotions, have control over their emotions, and emit those emotions in a positive way that others can kind of articulate exactly what they mean and what they say. Plus, they can put things in proper perspective. And they can interact with you, interact with their fellow classmates, interact with their parents, interact with teachers, interact with other people, other human beings in a way that, one, they can articulate exactly what they need and what they mean and what they're trying to say. And then secondarily, they can have a functioning relationship with other people. This domain is one of the hardest and most challenging domains in the Head Start world to create, and as far as class goes, to score high on. And it's because it is literally dependent on each child. It's literally dependent on how that teacher can connect with that child, how the child connects with others. And it really is a difficult thing to do, is teach a child how to control their emotions. So the best way to do it as a coach and as a teacher and as a parent is to control your emotions. Control exactly how you are implementing information to your children. Understand that they're not going to get it right away. Understand that it's okay. Understand that it's all right to laugh and have a good time. Understand that it's the best thing you can do is encourage. Give a lot of high fives. Give a lot of attaboys. Give a lot of encouragement, and encourage the players to give encouragement, because you never know. If you're telling everybody every time somebody makes a run to say great job, then in the classroom when somebody does something really well, they might do the same thing and say great job, great job, great job. And now you're creating an environment where you're changing the lives of these children. Okay, social emotional is one of the biggest topics of the education world, especially when you're dealing with Head Start, and especially at BCHS, because we focus heavily on the social emotional domain. The second domain that we want to focus on is the language domain. Okay, and just to give you kind of an overview, as true of humans, human development rather. In infancy, overall language development occurs in the context of relationships. Emotional and language development in the early years is linked to much of the form of the content of the communication between infants and their caregivers in the first years of life. And this also depends on the effective expression. So what does that mean? Social emotional is directly connected to language. If you learn how to control your emotions and you teach that child how to control their emotions, and they can express themselves through the language barrier, and they can get what they need to get and say what they need to say, then that teaches that child exactly, one, how to talk with emotion and how to talk without emotion, but also how to express themselves in ways that get through to what their real goal is, and not in a combative way, but in a positive way, because everything that we teach is going to be upbeat and going to be positive. So those two domains, social emotional, extremely important, and language domain, extremely important. How is that going to work on the football field? Through encouragement, teaching those kids how to say great things about other kids, teaching those parents how to say great things about other parents and other kids, and then language wise, challenging them to say different things, challenging them to learn new words, challenging them to use football terms. Because using bigger terms, using terms that are different to them can effectively help them grow mentally. Their brain is literally a sponge. It expands every day. The synaptic connections are firing every day. And so in order for us to systematically grow their brains and to grow them in the language domain, we must talk to them about different. We must challenge them with new words. So giving them terms, giving them penalty terms, false start, offsides, those kind of things, and then connecting it with, okay, if I do this, then this is what happens, and this is what that is called. Okay, and so connecting those dots for these children, if we can do that at an early age, and we can do that at an early stage in the development of EPEC and the development of your football team, we can develop these children in ways that are unseen around the country. So with that being said, guys, we really appreciate it. We're going to send you the links, or you should already have the links for the actual tutorial video. Okay. And if you have any questions about the tutorial video or about the cheerleading video or anything that was said in this session, please feel free to give us a call. Your principals and case managers have our phone number. Understand that right now we are literally out at a campus somewhere, going through practice or actually finishing this coaching seminar and then getting ready to go into practice. So please understand that we are out right now and we are 100% open, and our phone lines are open. So if you have any questions, any kind of concerns, or anything that you want to say or need from us, please reach out. Understand that this is going to be one of the tools that we're going to use is the videos. If you have any questions, again, please reach out to us. We are open 24/7 for questions, and we're really looking forward to meeting all of you, coming to each campus and touching all of you guys in a meaningful way at each campus. So we thank you very much, and we want you to have an epic day. Hello, my name is Julian Walker. I am the founder and CEO of the EPEC curriculum. In EPEC, what we do is we provide meaningful encounters between parents and students, and also parents and teachers, and children and teachers in the school environment and around the school setting. The video that you're about to see is a tutorial video for one of our engagement events, specifically our football and cheerleading engagement event. These two events coincide with one another. I'm from the great state of Texas, and football to us is like a religion. So we believe that this was a great start off to the EPEC curriculum and the EPEC foundation and what we're doing.
Hi, this is Hope Stive, and she's going to demonstrate our cheer stance. So the first stance is going to be the beginner stance. You're going to stand with your feet together and hands by your sides. The next stance is your cheer stance. So you're going to stand with your feet shoulder width apart and put both hands on both hips, like so. So the next stance is called clasp. You're going to stand with your feet shoulder width apart, and you're going to bring your hands together like so. And this is what you call clasp. It's like a clapping position. Your next position is called a right high V. So you're going to stand with your feet shoulder width apart. You're going to put your left hand on your hip and your right hand up in a angled position, like so. So the last two stances Hope's going to demonstrate is the high V and the low V. So you're going to stand with your feet shoulder width apart, and you're going to bring your arms out to your side in a low V. The high V is the same thing, but it's going to be upwards. So Hope's going to demonstrate a cheer that you could use during practice. This one's called LET, SGO, come on team, let's go.
LET, SGO, come on team, let's go.
The second cheer Hope's going to demonstrate is called Yell 'em Out.
Yell 'em out, yell 'em out, yell those team colors out. Red, 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 blue, 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 blue. Yeah!
First, we need to teach our children how to stretch. Stretching is extremely important to warm up the muscles and teach the children how to warm up the muscles. Also for the coaches to warm up their muscles as well. So the very first stretch that we're going to do is bending over, touching our toes. Now when you bend, you should bend 90 degrees at the waist. You should keep your legs straight, knees locked, and drop your hands all the way to your toes. The goal for each child is to grab their toes. And as coaches, we need you to illustrate exactly how to do this, okay? You're gonna hold this for a 10 count. Once you hold this for a 10 count, you're gonna raise back up and move on to the next stretch. The next stretch that we're gonna do is cherry picking. Now you're gonna have the children spread their legs, okay, where you have about a 45-degree angle in between their legs. They're gonna reach down, straight arms, touch the ground. Then they're gonna lift back up, go down again, touch the middle ground, then lift back up, go down one more time, and touch way